681 offices. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Tuesday for the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. I have done that intro to this show for 16 months now, since we launched on August 9th of 2021. And it has been a thrill, a ton of fun. Found out that I was going to get an opportunity to host a show on ESPN Baton Rouge, found out Jeremy Hill was going to be my co-host, and we were excited, and we have had a ball for those 16 months. Last week, if you were listening to the show on Wednesday, you heard that Jeremy has gotten an opportunity to relaunch his football career with the XFL. We were so pumped for him. He's really excited. He's passionate about the game of football, and he wants to play while he can. And right now, he absolutely believes he can, and certainly I have no reason to doubt that he can. But I also understand that if he's going to get back to playing professional football, that's going to take a pretty significant commitment, and he knows that as well. So Jeremy has decided to step away from ESPN Baton Rouge and train for an opportunity to play professional football with the XFL, and we are way, way, way behind him and really excited for that opportunity. So we will certainly be following him every step of the way. But I'm going to take over here for the future here, solo. We'll see what happens moving forward. But Jeremy has got bigger fish to fry playing some football, so we could not thank Jeremy enough for his contributions. Had such a great time sitting here with him for 2 hours each and every day, whether it was from noon to 2 or from 1 to 3. And we'll see what happens in the future. But Jeremy certainly is excited to be going to play some football, and we will be following him each and every step of the way. So it's Hunt right now, and we'll be here for the next 2 hours talking sports, as we have done every single day since last August. We're going to talk a little bit about LSU and A&M. Got some Jimbo Fisher sound to play in the next segment. Glen West of Go 247 going to be with us. The Lane Kiffin to Auburn stuff does not die, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to give you a fall baseball recap of kind of everything I saw encapsulated into one segment at 2 o'clock. Keep you updated on LSU basketball as they're playing Akron down there in the Cayman Islands, and Sharif Ishak talking Saints and Pels at 2:30. We start with LSU and Texas A&M. I think those of you that listen to this show understand how I feel about Texas A&M. I think there's probably a faction of you that understand how I feel about A&M and are not sure why I feel that way about Texas A&M. It's pretty simple. Some of it is rooted in LSU's interest, and some of it is just my inability to turn off social media and websites. I'm aware of both of them, but they contribute to them. It is my opinion as an LSU fan, and I tell you, every single opinion that I make, every single thought that I have comes from the frame of a Louisiana State University grad and someone who covers that program. I want what's best for LSU. I never hide from that. I don't think it prevents me from doing my job. I think if you understand the lens that I'm coming from, I think I have an ability to kind of look at things fairly objectively, but I'm always going to see things through LSU's eyes. I don't fear a decade-long run of dominance from Ole Miss. I don't fear a decade-long run of dominance from Arkansas, Mississippi State. Look at what's going on in Oxford right now. They've had 2 nice seasons, and their coach may bail for a team down the street. I fear a decade of dominance from A&M. It has never happened in the history of the school. I'm well aware of that. But I see a potential, because when you combine recruiting, territory, and money, really good things can happen. They can't happen at other places. West Virginia isn't about to wreck the college football scene. Neither is Oregon State. There's a reason. No good players live around the school. They don't have massive budgets. Michigan State is not about to run through this place. They can pop a good team here, there, but there is a potential in a select few college football programs, and A&M has it whether you like it or not. They just have never realized it. That's hilarious. It's also true. So that's where it's a I don't want to call it a fear. It's an awareness that they're likely going to be on our schedule far more often than not in a meaningful football game. I don't need them getting good. I don't worry about Mississippi State getting good. Dak Prescott may show up there, and they may have some good teams. But year over year over year, it's not happening there. Or in Fayetteville. It could happen in College Station. That's where my interest in A&M is. Is it higher than it needs to be? Yes. Because of the social media stuff. But that's a me thing. I'm just talking about in general. So, this game is always really important to me personally because I want to keep my thumb on them. We've owned them since they showed up in the league. They have 2 wins. One, they were very, very fortunate to get in overtime, and the other one was in a COVID year when LSU had a skeleton roster. Every other year, LSU's taken it to them. Good LSU teams, great LSU teams, mediocre LSU teams, killed them. They hired Chavis to try to stick it to us. Geis ran for like 900. I've loved that. But this one is important on Saturday night. Not just because of me, not just because of keeping the thumb on A&M, but for a lot of reasons. On the front end, it's very obvious why this game is huge. LSU is one of the very, very select teams that has a chance to win the national championship this year. That is inarguable. It is possible for LSU to do so. That will be further confirmed tonight when they release the college football playoff rankings. LSU will be in the mix. So obviously, you go on the road in the regular season finale with a chance to win the national championship. It's a pretty big game. Gotcha. But let me paint a couple of other pictures that don't involve a national championship. And you tell me how significant this game really is. What if you lose it? You still go to Atlanta, and you lose that. Then you go to the ReliaQuest Bowl, or whatever it is, and you lose that. All of a sudden, you've got a stinker of a loss in November to a terrible A&M team that is the worst team in the league. You've got a loss and a chance to win a conference championship, and then you lost a bowl game. All of a sudden, you're 9-5. Now, when the dust settles on that 9-5, you can choose to look at it as a total collapse at the end of the year. You can choose to look at it as success in year one because you laid the foundation, won some really important games, and won the West. But 9-5 is still 9-5. If you win this game, you can go back and frame this thing as 10-2. Yeah, we lost to Georgia. Yeah, we got beaten that bowl game. But 10-2 in year one is pretty good. See how quickly I can spin that? Just because you didn't have the absolute stinker of a loss at the end? Nobody's going to bat an eye around here, or should, if Georgia comes out and beats you next week. That may happen. Then you go to a bowl game, it is what it is. But 10-4, with no slip up against A&M and a 10-win regular season, sounds so much better than a potential 9-5, does it not? To me, it really, really does. So we've had this run from September to now where, looking back on it, it didn't feel great after Florida State. It didn't feel great, in some respects after Auburn. It certainly didn't feel great after Tennessee. Some could say it didn't feel awesome after Arkansas, even though at that point you won the West a couple hours later, so hard to really hang your head too much. But as you look back now, almost 100% of LSU fans would say, man, what a really strong run. What a great job. And really the only way that can fall apart is if you lose on Saturday. Because, again, I don't think anybody in purple and gold is going to look at a loss to Georgia and go, man, we really screwed that one up. What a disaster. And bowl games are what they are. Some players don't play. whatever. That's we're not quite there yet. But this one feels big to me. And I'm confident there will be a lot of Tigers around the Thanksgiving table with a drink in your hand, talking to family members saying, man, have you seen A&M play? Did you watch them last week? Did you watch what Florida did to them? Did you watch how bad Mississippi State? They're terrible. We're going to crush them. And look, that may happen. But it feels to me like LSU's going to have a fight on its hands on Saturday. And in the next segment, we're going to get to some sound from Jimbo Fisher on a number of things, on their motivation level, some injury stuff, kind of where they are. I pulled some sound from Jimbo's press conference from yesterday. But, man, it just feels like the conversation changes if you can't get it done inside Kyle Field, and that makes it a huge game. Doesn't matter how much I dislike A&M or how much you personally care about A&M. You may have all your hatred for Alabama, like the guy who sits in the chair before me, Charles Sandegriff. You don't have room for A&M. It's all focused one way, and that's fine. Do whatever you got to do. Some people my age, it's Auburn. Hester, Florida. If you're in your 70s or 80s, you may still have it out for the Ole Miss Rebels. I got room for a lot of people on my board of hatred in the Southeastern Conference, and A&M's right there. I cannot have them, as their player so eloquently stated, urinating in our cornflakes at the end of the year. LSU needs to go out and take care of business in this game against Texas A&M, and my sincere hope is that they will do so. It's a big one, and I think if you cross this hurdle and you get to the end of your regular season at 10-2, it is going to be virtually impossible to go back and look on this season as anything as a resounding success. If you trip up, you may be able to reframe that conversation a little bit. That's just kind of the way I see it on Saturday. We still got a ton to talk about with the X's and O's of this game, matchups of this game, injuries in this game, a lot of things we've got to talk about, and we'll do so tomorrow and, of course, on Friday when we come back from the holiday, getting you ready for LSU and A&M. But I'm excited for it. Can't wait for Saturday night over there in College Station. We'll take a timeout, come back. We'll hear from Jimbo Fisher. He had a press conference yesterday. We pulled some sound from that. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana like Molly Kimball each and every month here on Hunt and Hill. Molly Kimball is with Eat Fit. She's a registered dietitian, nutrition journalist. And if you go to a restaurant here in the state of Louisiana, it's very likely when you look at that menu, you'll see Eat Fit on a number of the menu items. And that is Molly's partnership with 500 partners across the state. She understands the role that food plays in our state's culture, the pride that Louisianans have in our unique cuisine, and she doesn't want to diminish that. She just wants to put great food on the plate that meets some nutritional requirements, and she's done an awesome job in our great state in doing that. In addition to Eat Fit, Molly works to bridge the gap between the idea of wellness and real life through other ventures like her weekly podcast, weekly TV segment on WGNO. Molly Kimball is November's Champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford.
Quarterfinals in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and Etta Carr kick off at 7, immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Basketball Tigers down in the Caymans trail by 2 against Akron with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Keep you updated on that as we progress here on Hunt and Hill. Jimbo Fisher met with the media over in Bryan College Station yesterday. Had a number of things to talk about, but I picked the things that I thought were more relevant to our LSU-centric audience today. And I mentioned in the last segment I thought that LSU would have a fight on their hands on Saturday, and I still feel that way. I think that A&M is going to come out with a bit of an edge. I think the crowd is going to be really, really good. That is a very, very loyal fan base. They do not like LSU, and they get one more chance to pack into Kyle Field, and I think they're going to do that as long as LSU lets A&M stick around. Jimbo Fisher was asked yesterday, what would a win mean to your program?
Season as well. I think it's huge. Again, the future of what you have here, which we believe is extremely bright, where we're going and what we're doing, and these guys playing together and being together. And I think for the seniors, a great send-off in the last time they walk in that stadium, and learning that another lesson of persevering, of not letting circumstances dictate who you are and what you are, but how you deal with them and what you persevere through. And I think it'd be great for those seniors and it'd be a great message for those young players going into the offseason.
They are playing a lot of young guys. And while young guys are inexperienced, sometimes immature, oftentimes overwhelmed, they play pretty hard because they don't really know another way. And I've noticed that in watching A&M. I mean, they were in a cold rain against UMass on Saturday, and they had some freshman defensive linemen making some tackles and getting really fired up. And I'm sitting there on my couch going, man, is this the time to be getting real fired up? But look, that's a young player. That's youthful exuberance, I guess you would say. So I think that A&M would take something from a win here. It's not a team that they have beaten very often. It is a team that is accomplished this season that would be a signature win for them this year. They let one get away against Alabama. I think LSU is in for a team that's going to be playing pretty hard to start. The question is, who do they have available? And Devon Achane has missed the last 2 weeks. He was in a walking boot against South Carolina. And then in the game against UMass, he came out for pregame warmups. I saw the video that Travis Brown of the Bryan College Station Eagles sent out. He did not look very good at all in warmups and did not obviously play in that game. Evan Stewart also did not play in that game. Jimbo Fisher was asked about his 2 most explosive playmakers available on the roster.
Very hopeful. I mean, I'm very optimistic about that. I can't say that for sure. You don't ever day-by-day things, but feel very, very optimistic.
So it's interesting because Achane can move on. and doesn't have to play another down of college football. Evan Stewart's a freshman who's got star written all over him. This is a football team at Texas A&M that has nothing to play for other than pride. And the question is, if they're not 100%, do you send them out there? I talk about this all the time with the players that I've worked with, whether it's Jeremy here, Jacob Hester, Marlon Favorite, Brandon Taylor, any of the players that I've talked to, and they all basically say the same thing. Man, July and August suck. It's 100 degrees. You're waking up at 5:30 in the morning, lifting weights, running sprints, running 110s, doing up downs, then school starts, and you had 2-a-days. You work so hard to get out there for 12 games. And if the trainer says, yeah, you can go, it's just really hard to tell a kid to sit down. I know you went through all the 2-a-days. I know you did all the weightlifting. I know you ran all the sprints. I know you've gone to all your classes. I know you've done study hour. I know you, but yeah, just wear some street clothes. It's a hard conversation to have. Sometimes it happens because it has to. So what's the motivation for A-Chain? What's the motivation for Stewart? I don't know how hurt they are. But the question is, do they have enough motivation to come back? We'll get some more information on that as the week moves forward. It's only Tuesday. But Jimbo Fisher said he is, quote, hopeful that they will come back. One guy that A&M will not have on the field on Saturday is Harold Perkins. The thought was that they would at a certain point. Came from just outside of Houston and was a commitment to the Aggies for a very short period of time. Of course, now he'll be coming into Kyle Field in purple and gold.
Well, I think, one, Harold's very gifted. I mean, we knew that. I mean, I watched him as great as he's playing on defense. You watched him in high school. You could argue he was as great an offensive player as he was a defensive player. I think he averaged, 10 yards a carry? Wasn't it something like that he averaged per carry in high school? Was really athletic, ball-skilled, really good basketball player. You can just see a natural athlete. He's great in space, rushing, playing, physical. I mean, and he's a very intelligent young man. We knew going in he was a very, very highly recruited guy that we tried to recruit. You know, we were in on for a long time. And, just one of the ones that got away. But he's a very good player.
One of the ones that got away is correct. I'm happy about that. I had no idea that Harold Perkins was a basketball player. Doesn't really surprise me all that much. I've seen freakishly athletic people that look terrible trying to catch and shoot and dribble basketball, but apparently he was a pretty good one, and that is not surprising. When you look at the level of athleticism he displays, the speed, the quickness, the quick twitch, I'm sure the ability to get vertical. I mean, he's got every bit of athletic ability that you could hope to be blessed with. And so not a surprise, but a good thing that he will be playing for the Tigers. And I got a feeling he'll get to know Connor Wigman pretty good. Probably already knows him because they were committed to the same class at one time. They'll get to know each other pretty good coming up on Saturday night inside Kyle Field. The other quarterback on the field is going to be Jaden Daniels, and the Texas A&M media asked Jimbo Fisher, how do you deal with this guy?
Well, I think there's two kinds of mobile quarterbacks. And I mean this, ones that do it from run game mobility, in other words, plan runs, read runs, pyro reads while you're running at, and they're really trying to run him. You know what I mean? There's other, and whether it's interiorly, exteriorly, wherever. There's others where he may just be an exterior runner, or there's others who are very athletic, and people don't ever think about this. In your drop back game, spreading the field for running quarterbacks is just as good. Like when you talk about 2-point plays, sometimes it's better to drop back and spread the field and let athletic guys find seams than it is to roll them out, because at least you pin him on that side of the field. I think one thing about Daniels is that they do have quarterback runs where they plan and pull reads and read the end and have a lead blocker for him, but he also gets a lot of it in the passing game because you have to cover their wideouts are very good, and you can't, single cover, some they double or push guys back, and he does it scrambling. So, I think two things. We got to have edges set. Got to have understanding the pressure in which you have set and the leverage on him, not only the back and the guy coming to leverage the ball. And I think in the pass rush, being disciplined that you do not rush upfield past the passer. And once you get to the same level, you collapse to the upfield shoulder, you press the inside number, and the inside the pocket, you push it, and you make sure you don't get and you feel like you're getting pushed real wide. You got to fight back, even and fight against pressure and fight back in to close the gaps. There's two different things in rush and leveraging the football out.
I love it when Jimbo gets going real quick talking football. It's funny. Squeezing the pocket and pressing the inside number and all that kind of stuff. Here's the deal, and this will be something that we talk about a lot Wednesday and Friday. A&M's going to play a lot of young players on the defensive front on Saturday. And one thing that young defensive players will do is slightly miss an assignment. a little bit too aggressive, little bit out of position. The discipline's not quite there. You're trying to make plays all the time, and sometimes the job you're supposed to do will get in the way. And if those defensive linemen get out of position on a pass rush, Jaden, we know he'll kill you. Arkansas did an awesome job. Arkansas also plays almost no young players. They haven't had quite the injury issues, and certainly don't have the 5-star talent that you got to get out on the field. So they're going to play a lot of older players, and they kind of squeeze the pocket like Jimbo said. When they did rush up the field, they had spies right behind there, Drew Sanders, Bumper Pool, older players, and they slowed Jaden Daniels down. You can hear Jimbo just told you they know what to do. The question is, are you disciplined enough to do it? And not like just this time, all the time. Because you let Jaden Daniels get to the second level, how many times have we seen it this year? Almost every game. So that's a big deal with a bunch of young defensive players on the front for A&M. Can you stay where you're supposed to be? We'll just have to see. Last sound from Jimbo here before we get to Glen West of Go 247. He was asked, how did LSU go about losing to Florida State and becoming a team that could win the West?
To have this turnaround.
I just think they've gotten more comfortable with their schemes. You know what I mean? As you watch this game, their scheme has stayed the same. The guys have gotten more comfortable, more consistent in what they've done. And the quarterback, in some really critical plays and critical moments, I think has made big plays with his legs and feet. And then throwing the football. I mean, really making those plays at there's 2 or 3 games that were one play games that they were able to get and gain confidence from, I think, early, and then they just kept building on those, and he's done a really nice job of that.
The quarterback matchup here is a guy that's played 4 years of college football against a guy who has played 4 weeks of college football. That's the matchup here. And you got to like LSU in a big way in that matchup. Now, Connor Wigman, in his first game as a starter, came out and threw 4 touchdowns. He was a 5-star, top 5 quarterback in the country by everybody. He's got some ability. His offensive line is shot. His playmakers are all hurt. It's been a slog for the last 2 weeks. But there's some ability there. Jaden Daniels is just a little more proven commodity. He understands what he's trying to do with the offense. He very rarely puts the ball in harm's way. He's in control, even on the road. And you've got a freshman that might get a little bit wide-eyed if 40's ripping off the edge, or 8's ripping off the edge, or 18's ripping off the edge. I mean, there's some problems that can be created pretty quick. So I do, while it's in my nature to be a little bit nervous about this game, that's one thing that swings the pendulum pretty significantly the way of the Tigers is, man, you got a freshman who hadn't seen much, and you've got a 4th-year starter who's seen just about everything at this point. So those were Jimbo Fisher's thoughts from College Station on the ball game. I want to remind you, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is excited to see pro hockey coming back to the Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for games at Ticketmaster.com or the Raising Cane's Center box office. Keep listening for your chance to win some from us and sign up to win at 104.5 ESPN.com. We'll take a timeout, come back with Glen West on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford. I always tell you about the service department over at Bayou Ford. If you're going to go travel, it's probably too late for Thanksgiving at this point. If you're going to travel for Christmas, you got a bit of a hike in store, let Bayou Ford service that vehicle, and they do it in the most convenient way possible. They're not going to ask you to drive all the way into the dealership and sit in the waiting room and wait your turn and then wait for them to diagnose your car and then wait for the part to come in and then fix it. And no. They're going to let you get on about your day while they handle your car. So what they're going to do is send a loaner to you. They're going to have one of their 6 full-time drivers come to your place, whether it's your place of work or your home, drop off a loaner, pick up your car, take it to the dealership. They will service your vehicle. They will keep you posted as that repair is going on, and you'll be getting on about your day. Get the kids to school, get to work in the loaner, and then when that service job is done, they will drive that car right back to you. They'll pick the loaner up, and you haven't missed a beat. Bayou Ford Service Department makes everything so convenient. We tell you all the time, check the inventory online in terms of new and used cars. Explorer, Mustang, Bronco, Expedition, F-150. They got it all there at BayouFord.com. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, what they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
All right, let's say ah.
Hunt and Hill, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I gotta say, listening to Chris Blair and John Brady call the basketball game from down there in the Caymans before I came on the air really brought me back to my childhood. I used to sit on the floor, listen to my Sony boombox that I got for Christmas. So Jim Hawthorne and Kevin Ford call a bunch of basketball games. Jim Hawthorne and Charlie Hannegriff call a lot of baseball games. There was no SEC network. You couldn't just pull it up on your phone. Very rarely get to sound super old, but that to some people would sound super old. But I missed a little bit of radio listening there. And enjoyed the call. The Tigers trail Akron at the half, 35-33. LSU closed the half on an 8-2 run to cut the deficit to 2. So a little bit of a step up in class for Matt McMahon's squad with Akron. Not a great team, but a little bit better than the teams they have played leading up. So we'll see if the Tigers can show up in the second half and get it done. Glen West covers the Tigers for Go 247. Joins us now. Glenn, did you pay the $12 or $30 or whatever it is to watch basketball?
I am listening to the soothing voice of Chris Blair, just like the rest. Couldn't bring myself to pay the $30 to watch 3 games. So I will be.
There's a line there. Like I think they could have roped me in at $8. I think you go up to 12, no 30. You got no chance. I think 8 was the sweet spot for me for 3 games.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It kind of reminds me of the Texas LSU baseball series when you had to pretty much just buy the Texas Longhorn Network for a month just to watch the 3-game series, and I was like, nope, not doing that. So
it's the way of the world these days, I suppose. Your thoughts on LSU basketball through a couple of weeks now? I thought some pretty clunky opening performances, which is justified to an extent, but a little better performance yesterday, I thought, and then we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, I would say they've probably shown some growth in the last 2 games. I would say the first 2 were very, I guess clunky is a good word, like you said. But yeah, I think defensively this team is starting to come together a little bit. I think that's kind of where their identity is going to have to lie because, just as the season goes along, especially in non-conference play, it's just become apparent that offense is going to be tough. They don't have a whole ton of shot creation. Adam Miller, you hope he's on. But there's just not a whole lot of guys out there creating shots for others, and so it's going to be very, I think, clunky offensively at least to start. And defense is where you can kind of hang your hat. And look, LSU's played some really good defense in the last couple of games. I think they've been rotating really well. Their guards have been up on the perimeter. They've been rebounding a lot better in the last couple of games. So there's some stuff to work there in terms of defense, and I think that's kind of where this team's identity is ultimately going to have to lie.
I didn't expect 33 a night, but I was thinking between 14 and 16 from KJ Williams, which was not the case early. He really got going yesterday.
Yeah. I think the biggest outlier there was that he wasn't in foul trouble. He's kind of gotten himself into some foul trouble in the early first few games, and yesterday he didn't have that trouble, and he was just out there playing free. Has a really nice stroke from long distance that you can tell he's worked a lot on it, even in this last offseason. Poured in 33 points, which I'm pretty sure was a career high for him heading into this game. So, just a really nice performance for him, and that's what you need. They don't have a whole lot of bigs that can score the ball. I think they rely on him a lot to be their interior presence, and so you saw him have a big game last night, and you also saw the 2-point efficiency rise, which was something that LSU's really struggled with in its first couple games as well. So having him on the floor for as many minutes as possible certainly helps your offense.
Chatting with Glen West of Go247. Glenn, let's switch over to football here. Just a dreadful night in Tiger Stadium weather-wise on Saturday, but the team responded and played very well, led by Jaden Daniels. Were you in my camp where the Arkansas game kind of gave you a little bit of pause, or did you figure, that's just a hangover from Bama, they're back in action?
Yeah, I think it was probably more the latter. I think it might have been a little bit of a hangover game. It sounds like the flu has really run rampant with that program over the last week or two, and we actually learned yesterday that Jaden had the flu during that week of preparation for the Arkansas game, and you don't want to create excuses for guys, but certainly that kind of probably throws off your process there when you're not feeling 100%. So I do think it might have been a little bit of a hangover, might have been some guys just feeling under the weather. And look, they hadn't played in an atmosphere like that where the conditions were just so cold, so kind of windy and just not ideal for offenses. So it was nice to see them have that bounce back performance last week in some really dreadful conditions with the rain and the cold. So just something I think you can build on, but I do think this offense was able to find something and get back on track to some degree.
Based on what you heard from Brian Kelly yesterday, we know that Emory Jones and Will Campbell will be the tackles. What do you think the interior offensive line looks like on Saturday with all the injuries and the shuffling of guys?
Sure. So right now it does look like Marlon Martinez will probably get another start at center. It sounds like Charles Turner's a little banged up right now. So I do think that, you could probably afford to slide Marlon back in there and he can have some success against A&M. You want to make sure that Charles Turner is as close to 100%, when you play Georgia in a week's time. So I do think you got to think a little bit in the future in that respect. But other than that, I think Anthony Bradford is going to get a lot of snaps at guard. You're going to continue to see Miles Frazier at guard. And you can rotate Dellinger in as well at guard and at center if Martinez ever needs a break. So I do think they're relatively healthy up front. It's just about getting Turner healthy and see if they can kind of build on last week's performance.
Anything that A&M does that you think threatens LSU on Saturday?
they have a pretty good line. Like, their defensive line is no joke. I do think they have some good pass rushers. They've been pretty consistent, I think, against the run this year. So there's going to be some, I think, opportunity there for LSU to certainly have its advantages against a young team. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway I had from Coach Kelly, is that he said they're a really talented group. They're just young. And so I think you got to be able to find ways to manipulate that young talent, put them in some really weird, just defensive schemes that maybe they're not accustomed to. And, I think that's the best way to probably attack this thing, and certainly unleash Jaden as much as possible with his legs. I mean, he is such a devastating factor downfield with his legs that I think he could create a lot of different problems for the Aggies defense.
LSU has played two programs that were really having a rough go of it so far this year. Auburn was in a pretty bad spot when LSU played them, and obviously you look at what Arkansas was looking at, injury to their quarterback, hadn't played well the last few weeks. And both of those games ended up being really close, and LSU struggled offensively. I say that leading in because we feel like, well, A&M has nothing to play for. They're in a really bad spot. But I get the sense that LSU is going to see a pretty inspired football team as long as A&M can stay in it. How do you think the environment and the effort level from the Aggies will be on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look much further than last week. Hopefully they get a bigger turnout than that UMass game. I mean, I think there were really more people in the LSU stadium in the fourth quarter of that UAB game than there were in the entire game for UMass for A&M. But, I think this is, you're playing a team now that has literally nothing else to play for other than pride. I mean, you've heard it from the A&M players weeks ago talking about how they want to try to screw with LSU and mess up their season, mess up their chances for a playoff berth. And, Kelly was asked directly about that yesterday, and he kind of shrugged it off and said, look, it's not anything he hasn't heard before, but you've got to stick with the process. You've got to stick with what's been working for your program. And yeah, some of those games where there's been some programs that have been down haven't exactly gone, as fluidly as you'd like, as smoothly as you'd like. But I think you're going to get a very focused LSU team, and they kind of have to exceed their level of play than they have the last couple weeks.
Anything stand out from Jay Johnson's press conference yesterday?
There were a couple things. It sounds like Dylan Cruz is a little bit better. I know that's kind of hard to imagine. I asked him that. I asked him plainly. He looks like he's playing a different sport at times, and he said, look, he looks even better. He says he's an elite defensive outfielder now. Last year, I think he called him a really good outfielder, but now he's in that elite category. So that's a little bit I would say that's a little bit damaging on opposing SEC teams when they're going to have to play him this year. But look, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of freshmen get opportunities. That was one of the big things that we wanted to know, especially in that middle infield. Gavin Guidry is going to get some opportunities. Paxton Kling in the outfield could get some opportunities. And then on the mound, he's really impressed with Chase Shores and Aiden Moffitt and some of the new freshman arms they brought in as well. So I know you got a chance to see Aiden Moffitt with me last weekend. He looks really, really good, really special. So there's a lot of young talent here that I think they're going to incorporate really early into the season.
Glenn, we appreciate the time. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
He is Glen West, Go247 for all your recruiting and team coverage needs. Appreciate him joining us each and every Tuesday here on Hunt and Hill. Want to remind you to check out dropbiscuit.com, browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern flavored audio biscuit you may fancy. That is dropbiscuit.com. We will come back, get you an update on the goings-on in Oxford and Auburn. Now listen to a little bit more, and everything's starting to point a certain direction. I'll tell you what that is next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check them out at reliableroofingbr.com. Put your roofing in our hands is what they say right there on reliableroofingbr.com. They got a ton of great features on the site, whether that's a tool that has free estimates, whether you can look at their before and after photos. They've got testimonials on there as well. Reliable Roof Construction, owned and operated by Lionel Hayes, a Baton Rouge resident for life. He's here, started his company here to serve the Baton Rouge area. And what they want to remind you is there's no job too big. There is no job too small. If you just need an inspection because you're not sure, Reliable Roofing will do that for you. And if they determine, hey, you just got a few shingles out of place here, we can handle that, they'll do it. There are a lot of roofing companies that they just want the big jobs. So they'll look up there and they go, we're not wasting our time with that. Not Reliable Roofing and Construction. They're here to help you with your roofing needs. Every single job, 5-year labor warranty. 5-year labor warranty at Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, reliableroofingbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
12 in the NFL starts with the Thanksgiving Day triple header. First, the Lions host the Bills at 11:30 a.m. Then the Cowboys host the Giants at 3:30 p.m., followed by the Vikings and the Patriots at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So we talked about Lane Kiffin yesterday, and I kind of laid it out and said, here's the deal. Everybody with ties to John Cohen is saying that Kiffin's the target, and Ole Miss took that very seriously. And they went to their NIL collective and raised $9 million. And their athletic director got proactive and reportedly, from Ole Miss reporters, has offered Lane Kiffin a massive contract extension that would make him one of the top 5 highest paid coaches in college football. And that offer has not been signed or has not been reported on. And that all kind of points you towards, well, how serious is this? And I'm listening to the guys over at rebelgrove.com, Neil McCready and Chase Parham, who do a great job covering Ole Miss. And they were back on their podcast this morning and said, look, we believe all of this to be true. We believe Auburn is targeting Ole Miss. We believe they've contacted Lane Kiffin. We believe that Ole Miss's collective has raised $9 million. We believe that Ole Miss has offered Lane Kiffin a massive contract extension, and we believe he has not signed it. So Lane Kiffin was asked last night, are you going to be the coach here? Are you going to Auburn? And Lane Kiffin said, I'm not answering this kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm happy here. I like it here. I'm happy with what we've done. We've got a game to play. And that's kind of where he left it, except he went as far as to say, I'm not going to give you the out of here in a pine box, or I'm not going to be the head football coach at Alabama, which are two very famous instances. One where Tommy Tuberville literally went from Ole Miss to Auburn. They asked him while he was the Ole Miss coach, and he said, they're going to carry me out of here in a pine box. So he was going to die to coach Ole Miss. Well, he left to Auburn immediately. And Saban said he wasn't going to be the coach at Alabama, and he left him as coach at Alabama. And Kiffin said, I'm not going to do that. And then John Sokolov, who's a TV reporter up in Columbus, reports, hey, Lane Kiffin, Friday after the Egg Bowl, going to Auburn. Done. And Lane, who can't help himself, jumps up there and has to retweet it and say bad sources, and then has to type up his own piece of paper that says John Sokolov is leaving for the competing TV station. And this is kind of the mold that he's tried to break a little bit as a head coach, be a little bit more professional, still get your jabs in, still throw something at Saban here or there, throw something at Feinbaum here or there. But, man, like, you're throwing a reporter totally under the bus here. So one of two things is going to happen. Either he takes the job, and this whole thing where he took shots at a guy professionally who had the story right, that doesn't look great. Or the other here that, he's staying at Ole Miss. Maybe he's just trying to get Ole Miss to up the ante, but they did, and he hasn't signed it. I don't know anything that goes on in Oxford, Mississippi, or Auburn, Alabama. But the guys I'm listening to do, and everybody in Oxford thinks he's gone. And that, to me, you got to stay off Twitter there, if that's the case. Now, we don't know. We don't know what story's told here. But the report's out there, and it's not just from Joe YouTube, not just from Joe Twitter handle. This is a guy who works in the media as a television reporter and thinks he has something and has had no propensity to rush to the Twitter machine to throw stuff against the wall. The only thing he's really broken of note recently is that John Cohen was leaving Mississippi State to go to Auburn, and that happened. So after all the dust settles, we may use some hindsight and understand where Lane's head was. But it feels like it's not going to be the best look. And we'll see what he can do at Auburn if that's the case. He will be absolute sworn enemy number one in Oxford, Mississippi, which is interesting and entertaining. But it's a fascinating story. And to kind of put a bow on this thing, like, the people in Mississippi think he's leaving. And that's been a huge distraction. And there's no graceful way to do this. With Twitter and reports and agents and everybody talking, it's just very, very rare that a coach is hired in the dead of night, quote, and I use quotes. Now, Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly were not really rumored to go to their places, and they showed up there pretty quick. So it can be done, and credit to the brass out in Los Angeles and to Scott Woodward and his crew here in Baton Rouge. More often than not, smoke starts billowing, people get restless, things start flying on Twitter. And that feels like what's happening here, especially when everybody's playing in the same litter box. Got a lot of agent ties here. Geographically, they're obviously very close. There's a lot. But it's been a fascinating story. And to go back to my original point in the first segment about what I think A&M has the potential to be, A lot of people, myself included, don't think Ole Miss has it. And if Lane Kiffin bolts after just 3 years, one of them a COVID year, that's really a shot across the bow at Ole Miss and what he perceives they can be and what most of us perceive they can be, which is very rarely all that relevant. But they have been for 2 years now under Lane Kiffin, and obviously that's why John Cohen's knocking on that door. Plus, as a Mississippi State Bulldog alum, probably doesn't irritate him to maybe take a shot at Ole Miss there. Maybe some ulterior motives. That'll do it for hour one here on a Tuesday. If you missed it, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Those of y'all hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube, love it if you would throw us a like. When we come back in hour number 2, we got Sharif Ishak on the Hoodats. Also going to get an LSU basketball update as well as an LSU fall baseball recap right after SportsCenter. Come back with us here on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ben Simmons says he knows what's awaiting him tonight and is ready for the hostile environment in Philadelphia. For the first time since February's blockbuster trade and the bitter split that sent him to Brooklyn, Simmons will play against the 76ers in Philly. In the Nets' previous matchup at Philadelphia, Simmons watched from the bench, sidelined by a back issue. He believes, though, that has prepared him for tonight, explains ESPN's Nick Friedel.
And I think a huge part of this is that while he wasn't playing last year in March, he went through what it's going to sound like in here tonight. People were chanting at him. They were screaming at him. He went through all of that emotion, and that muscle memory is really going to help him once he gets back out on the floor. But he's had this game circled for a long time.
The Lakers ruled out LeBron James tonight against the Suns because of a groin strain. Manchester United has confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo and the club have mutually agreed to part ways effective immediately. ESPN reported last week that Man U was seeking to terminate Ronaldo's contract following his criticism of the club and manager in an interview. The Phillies signed President of Baseball Operations Dave Dombrowski to a 3-year extension.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Tom Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Hunt Palmer. Thanks for hanging out with me here on a Tuesday afternoon. If you're looking for something to do this evening, I would highly recommend Pluckers Sports Trivia. We'll have some awesome basketball on TV. Sports Trivia, 8:30. Win some Pluckers gift cards. Have something cold to drink, something delicious to eat. Always a good time on Tuesdays. Hope you get a short work week this week. Our team here at 104.5 ESPN off on Thursday, but we will be back in action on Friday for a Football Friday, getting you ready for LSU and A&M, as well as the Saints playing against San Francisco. So lots of football to get to over the next few days. But I do want to take time here on a Tuesday to get to a recap of fall baseball. The Purple and Gold World Series concluded on Sunday. Got rained out on Saturday, but they were able to get out there on Sunday for a little bit. So I got a chance over those 6 weeks to see the Tigers a good bit. And, man, it's impressive. If you talk to people inside the baseball program, you talk to scouts, we talked to Kendall Rogers, you talk to fans that just went out there and watched. It's a remarkable collection of talent. But you already knew that. The question is, how do they put it together, and what does it look like come February? And more importantly, what does it look like come May and June? And that story will be told. But I wanted to get some of the highlights that I saw out there over the last 6 weeks. Paul Skeens it looks excellent. Big 6'9" right-hander from Air Force, a 3/4 arm slot. Everything he throws runs. Of course, a Team USA pitcher last summer, and the fastball is up to 99 miles an hour this fall. So that's a guy who has an incredible ceiling, an incredible future as a professional. To quote Jay Johnson yesterday, he said, Skeens is ridiculous. Going up there, he's got a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, 70-mile-per-hour curveball. It's crazy. Oh, that's what Trey Morgan said. And then he went on to talk about Grant Taylor, who I'll get to here in a second. But Skeens is the only guy, in my estimation, and this is not me reporting inside sources or getting anything. This is my opinion. I think he's the only guy that I would lock into my weekend rotation from the start. There are a lot of other options. There are plenty of guys who are good enough to do it. But to me, the only guy that I would look at on this staff and say, absolutely weekend starter in the SEC is Skeens. And again, the rest of them, it's not because they can't find somebody talented enough to do it. It's because there's like a few guys competing, and I don't know who would be out in front of that. But Skeens certainly is right there. Thatcher Hurd is the other name that a lot of people were very, very excited about, myself included. When they got Thatcher Hurd, I turned on the YouTube tape and was blown away. and it was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, a really good breaking ball. He throws two different breaking balls, a slider and a curveball, and then he can throw a changeup as well. We know he's coming off the injury. They took it real easy on him this fall. So if you were to go just look at the raw numbers of the 6 outings he had or whatever it was in the fall, it will not blow you away. But trust me, they just wanted to get him through a fall, healthy, progressing, and they saw enough out of him over the course of the fall. The guy who, in my opinion, made the biggest jump was Grant Taylor. And I was about to get into that Trey Morgan quote on him. Said, you got Grant Taylor. He looks way different. You can see the changes he's made to his body. You can feel it in the box. That fastball feels really heavy. He's the only pitcher this fall that I didn't get a hit off of. And Grant Taylor was out there a lot. He struggled down the stretch last year, had some outings with big walk totals, and he just got tired as a freshman. But he looked really good in the fall. I did talk to someone in the program, and they're kind of looking at Grant Taylor as a potential starter, but someone who could very, very easily go to the back end of the bullpen and help you out at the end of games. 97 with the fastball consistently, and a really good breaking ball when he throws it where he wants to. Question with Taylor is he going to throw it for strikes? But the stuff is awesome, and I really enjoyed him. Speaking of awesome stuff, told you in the first fall ball recap on a Tuesday I did this year that it was termed to me when asking about Chase Shores that he's the real deal, and I saw that on Sunday. Shores is 6'8", 6'9", and he's not one of these freshmen that showed up and is all wiry and skinny. He is all of 255 pounds. And has an imposing presence on the mound. He short arms it a little bit, but that fastball was 96 miles an hour on Sunday, and he can throw a couple different breaking balls as well. And I very much enjoyed watching Chase Shores. There is every anticipation inside that program that Chase Shores is an impact guy this year, not down the road. Early in the fall, they said, potential weekend starter down the road. No, he may be in the mix now. That's how talented he is. Ty Floyd had a huge fall. You knew that new pitching coach Wes Johnson was going to come in and going to work with some of these guys on some of their deficiencies. Ty Floyd improved last year from February to June on the breaking ball, but he took another step this year. And when you've got the spin rate that he can create on the fastball, which we've known for 2 years now, and he's throwing that thing elevated in the strike zone at 97 miles an hour, which he was doing consistently in the fall, that makes everything play up. And so that was really impressive for Ty Floyd. The last pitcher I want to talk about is one that Glen West, if you were listening about 20 minutes ago, mentioned here because Glenn and I were in the press box watching on Sunday. Aiden Moffitt was brought here as the number one right-handed pitcher in Mississippi. He was thought to be very raw. That's why, even though the raw stuff was there, they didn't draft him as highly as he probably would have liked. So he ends up on campus. He touched 99 his first outing. On Sunday, which was cold, he was pumping him in there 94, 95. And it was impressive. He threw 2 innings on Sunday, struck out 5 guys. He struck out Merrifield, who's had a huge fall. Struck out Pearson. Struck out Morgan. That was in 1 inning. Oh, by the way, the Pearson strikeout was on a nasty slider. Morgan had fouled off a couple 2-strike pitches, 94, 95. He reached back and got 97 and froze Trey Morgan with a fastball at the knees. I think Moffitt is a little bit down the pecking order because of the proven commodities on this staff and just how much talent there is. But you got a guy that can snap off a breaking ball and strike out Josh Pearson and then come back in the next at bat and find 97 in the holster to paint on Trey Morgan and strike him out. There's something to it. So very excited about Aiden Moffitt as well. As far as offense goes, I think something that is, it certainly was in my head. I can't speak for you, the LSU baseball fan or the listener to this show. I can't tell you how you felt, but when Tommy White, committed to LSU, I think the thing that came straight to your brain was, oh my gosh, 27 home runs. the all-time freshman home run leader in college baseball. Wow. And that's a reasonable thing to think. What if I told you that Tommy White last year hit 362? You want to put 362 in perspective? The highest average Antoine Duplantis ever hit for was 328. He's the all-time LSU hits leader. Tommy White is a power hitter. He's also a great hitter. If you look at the film from North Carolina State and the home runs he hits, he, like Dylan Cruz, stays inside the baseball as well as any college hitter you will find. And that's why he hits a ton of home runs to center and in the power alleys. But he also hits a bunch of opposite field singles and doubles and drives the ball back up the middle and hits with 2 strikes. He's just a great hitter. And I can't pretend that I know every hitter in college baseball. I don't know every hitter in college baseball. It is possible, bordering on likely, that LSU has the 2 best college baseball hitters in the country. Nobody's going to argue with Dylan Cruz. Kendall came on here last week. Nobody follows college baseball closer than him. Said he's going to be the first pick in the draft. And Tommy White is right there with him. He out-homered him last year as a freshman. Hit 362. So I mentioned earlier in my fall recaps that White has looked very comfortable at third. He did. He's going to be your third baseman. That's huge. Trey Morgan's going to play first. That's awesome. Jordan Thompson's going to be your shortstop. Question is second base and left field. And right field, depending on where Pearson plays. Pearson's going to play. But then you've got, for second base, left field, and DH, you've got Jack Merrifield, who had an awesome fall. You've got Gavin Dugas, who we know the potential in. SEC RBI leader, 19 homers, stud in the regional. Gavin Guidry, Louisiana Player of the Year. And Nipple, the transfer from VCU. You don't have enough room to play them all. And I didn't even mention Paxton Kling in that. So you got 5 guys for 3 spots. Doesn't look great. Paxton Kling hit 6 home runs this fall. Hit one off the scoreboard a couple weeks ago. He's a great athlete, a great runner. Braden Jobert was a massive left-handed power bat last year. I haven't mentioned him. I don't know where he fits. They've got like 14 guys that could start. And you only got 9 spots in the order. It is a massive amount of talent. And we'll see how Jay Johnson shakes it out. But every day you go out there, you see something special. I could go on and on about the 4 catchers and Thompson's improved play at second base. What they could do with Christian Little. Who's going to be a closer's third starter. I could go on for a day. And if you want to read some stuff, you can go over to On3, the Bengal Tiger site. Billy Embody, Shea Dixon, Matthew Bruni. Those guys do an awesome job. I'm going to be doing some baseball stuff for them, and I'll have a big fall recap on their site coming up this week. And I will go on and on and on and on about all that kind of stuff there. But here, we got other stuff to get to, namely football. So we'll do that when we come back. We'll get you an update from the Cayman Islands and Sharif Ishak with us in 17 minutes right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Love telling you about One Bath and Closets. Their motto is they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. A lot of contractors are trying to get to the next job. How quickly can we get this done, collect payment, and move? Not One Bath and Closets. Not David Duvall and his crew who have been in the business for 3 decades. They've been redesigning, remodeling closets and bathrooms for 3 decades, and they're going to do it the right the first time and leave the competition behind. Whether it's a tub-to-shower conversion, whether it's a new closet that gives you shoe racks and tie racks and different compartments and slots, and so we can be organized as opposed to having a bunch of stuff everywhere. And it's not just a one-size-fits-all deal. It's the exact opposite of that. David Duvall and his crew, when they're doing a new closet, they're going to come in, hand you a questionnaire. Here's all the things you got. Here's all the things you need. What giving you problems. And they're going to put a custom solution together for you. And the best part about this whole deal is, if you tell David Duvall and the crew at One Bath and Closets that Hunt and Hill sent you over there, 30% off your closet remodel. 30% off. What an awesome thing that would be to give someone in your house for the Christmas holiday. OneBathAndClosets.com is a website. Read the testimonials there. There's a reason David's the best in town. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
3 people walk into a bar. The first 2 order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and a crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted. Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Peter Burns and Sean Salisbury stop by for their weekly visits. And we'll recap Pels Warriors and LSU Tiger hoops in Grand Cayman. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They've reached the final media timeout down there in the Cayman Islands. LSU 62, Akron 52, with 3 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the game. So Tigers have built a 10-point lead after trailing by 2 at the half. Just got to hold on over the last 4 minutes, and they will move to the championship game of the Grand Cayman Classic down there in Paradise. Chris Blair and John Brady on the call there courtside in what I believe is a high school's gym. But hey, you don't need a lot. Just need a couple rims and a ball. You can get it done, and that's what LSU's trying to do against Akron. Look, this is not it's just not a great field in the tournament, and Akron's not a great team. Akron is significantly better than yesterday's opponent and better than the opponents that LSU has played leading up to it, like Kansas City, UNO. You just haven't played very good teams. Akron is a little bit better. And LSU's handled their business in the second half. They just got to get to the finish line. Let's hope they can do just that. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 in cash. It's our 15K holidays. Head over to 1045ESPN.com and register to win a $15,000 national cash prize or $1,500 in a local cash prize. 15K holidays is powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharif Ishak with us in 10 minutes. Talking Saints as their opponent for next week. Looked pretty good last night, if I do say so myself. I want to talk LSU and A&M briefly here. We're going to get a lot deeper into the weeds tomorrow. We're going to go to College Station, chat with with Travis Brown of the Bryan College Station Eagle, get into some more statistics, some X's and O's, trends, all that kind of stuff. And you know what we do on a Football Friday. We're going to get to all that as well. We'll also have J.D. Piquel with us on Friday this week. He can't make tomorrow work because of the holiday, but Friday he will be with us. So got a lot of LSU A&M to get to. I'm trying, before I get into the weeds, I have this routine. It may not be the best way to go about it professionally. I don't know. It's just the way that I prefer to do it. I don't want to get out over my skis on Monday and Tuesday and then show up for Friday's show and go, yeah, we've already talked about all that. So the best way for me to do that is to not ingest all the information until later in the week. So that's generally what I do. Tuesday night, I kind of start. Wednesday, I get heavy into it. And certainly Thursday, you put a bow on it for Friday's show. But I haven't looked at every stat for A&M. I haven't looked at every single trend, every game, every box score. But I'm trying to make myself feel a little bit better about this game because I had this really exaggerated fear of losing this game. We've talked about this for 3 weeks now. This is not anything new to y'all. You heard the opening of the show. You get it. They really can, to use the A&M guy's quote, pee in our cornflakes. Like, they really can. And we can't do anything to them but put them out of their misery. So it's a one-sided deal here. But they are the worst team in the league. They're the worst team in the league. I will do power rankings tomorrow. They will be 14th. There's nowhere else to put them. They are the worst team in the league. They are atrocious on offense. They're bad on defense. They're poorly coached, and they don't win. I don't know what else I could tell you about Texas A&M. So that's what I'm going to try to frame my research in as I dive deeper into this A&M team. The fact of the matter is, no matter what the stat sheet says against Florida or against Miami or against Bama or against South Carolina, whatever box score you look at, in the end, when you put it all together, they suck. There's no other way to put it. But I do think they can pose a threat on any given Saturday. There is no, and I mean no reason, why South Carolina should score 63 points on Tennessee. None. There's not really a reason that Vanderbilt ought to essentially run Florida off the field, which is what they did late in that game. You get out there, you blow the whistle, and sometimes stuff happens. So I'm trying to get into my positive headspace and go, look, you've got a quarterback that's got 4 years of experience and is playing at an all-conference level. They got a quarterback who's played for 4 weeks and wasn't very good in his last 2 games. He's getting the hell beat out of him because their offensive line stinks. Stewart hadn't played. Achane hadn't played. Smith's out. They don't have a bunch of guys to throw the ball to. Sometimes Moose Muhammad wears sleeves and then he can't play. Sometimes he doesn't wear sleeves and he goes out there and plays. But you got a big advantage there. Your defensive front is very good. Jaquelin Roy, Mekhi Wingo, B.J. Ojulari, Ali Gay, Harold Perkins, Micah Baskerville, Greg Penn. Your guys are playing great. They can't do anything. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. They can't pass block. They can't do anything. That's pretty good. Your corners have started to play better. All their receivers have been hurt. Defensively, all they got's freshmen on the defensive front. You got a couple freshmen playing on the offensive front, too. But you got a quarterback that ought to know what he's doing and a wide receiving core that ought to run circles around A&M's secondary. There's no real reason you should have trouble. South Carolina beat them. Florida beat them. Ole Miss beat them. State crushed them. There's not really a reason you should struggle. And the point of this segment was not to throw a bunch of stats at you, to back up any feelings that I have with situational evidence. The point of this segment is for those that listen for 2 hours every day or for those that lock into majority of our shows, I'll get more technical moving forward. And I'll probably work myself into a tizzy thinking, man, this could really be a problem, or man, they better not do this. When in actuality, every single point that I make about this game for the next 4 days should be rooted in the fact that A&M can't beat anybody, including Appalachian State. The only conference game they won this year, they ran a fumble back 100 yards and had a field goal literally hit the top of the upright. So maybe this segment is for your good, for you to feel better entering your holiday, for you to feel good about the game on Saturday. Maybe it's just for me so that I feel a little bit better before I really dive into watching the highlights and diving into the stats and listening to press conferences and starting to work up some matchups. I don't know yet, but I just know that I needed to do it. Oh, gosh. I'm going to be a nervous wreck on Saturday. I just did this whole 5-minute segment, and I still couldn't quite psych myself up to get to it. But if you go out there like you did against UAB, like you did against Florida, and you take control of the game early, there's not a real reason they should wrestle it back. And I do feel that way about that. The way that A&M wins this game is not that they come and just totally outclass LSU. It's that LSU makes mistakes and A&M hits some big plays, which they're capable of doing. But man, wouldn't it be sweet if they could finish this thing off on Saturday? Sunday I wake up, go buy a Christmas tree, do the decorating, make some gumbo, and while I'm stirring the roux, I can listen to the A&M podcast. That's a Sunday. That's where you know I have a real sickness. It's just like I felt 2 weeks ago when I said, man, LSU's playing at Arkansas at 11 in the morning. Right after that's Alabama Ole Miss. And then I got Auburn A&M late. That could be a really good day of football watching if it all breaks the right way. And sure as hell, it all broke the right way, and it was a really good day of football watching. It could be a really nice Sunday in the Palmer House. If the Tigers take care of their business on Saturday night, we certainly hope that they will. Games at 6 o'clock on Sunday for those that will be checked out the rest of the week because you got traveling and holidays and all that. That means that Charles Hanniger's post-game show will crank up with Matt Musso from Rouse's at 1 o'clock. I will take over on the LSU Sports Radio Network at 4. We'll go 90 minutes and then throw things to College Station to the broadcast team at 4 o'clock. At 5:30. They'll have the call of the game 30 minutes after it goes final. We will be on the Fighting Tiger postgame report on the network for an hour, and then we'll throw it back to Charles Hanniger on Eagle 98.1 Game Day from right here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio as LSU and A&M gets recapped there over on Eagle 98.1. When we come back, Sharif, Ishak on the Saints. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion,
by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Solid second half for Matt McMahon's squad down in the Caymans. Looks like they're going to take care of business. They have opened up a 15-point lead with under a minute to play against Akron. So Tigers looking to move to 5-0. They would get the winner of Nevada and Kansas State in the championship game tomorrow. Should that score hold, we have every reason to believe that it will. We'll update you in the next segment. Time to go out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans, joins us. Sharif, how are you, sir?
Let's go. LSU, Kansas State. I need some revenge from last year's football
We may get
game.
it in the Sugar Bowl coming up here if we get the everything to fall right.
No, it's not happening. We're going to the playoffs. I ain't worried about no Sugar Bowl.
Okay. All right. I like that. That worked just fine for me, for sure. I don't know that the Saints are going to the playoffs. They won a game on Sunday. Did it feel like you exercised some Rams demons?
That was, two bad teams playing against each other. That's what you got in watching that game. I look at the 4 wins. The Saints have beaten 3 bad teams and a Seattle team that I still don't know what they are this year. But since they are 6-4, I'd say that's a good win this year.
Yeah, and the offense certainly looked good. The point's been made here on this station a couple times that when you look at the best games the Saints have played, they've been the games where they got Taysom Hill involved with the greatest volume. Do you put any merit in that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, he got 16 snaps at the quarterback position in that win against the Rams. in the few games before that, they weren't really using he or Alvin Kamara. I mean, you got to use your two best assets on offense to win a game. I mean, yeah, Chris Olave is awesome, but use the guys who have helped get you here to this point throughout the last few years. I've just been boggled by the way they haven't used those two guys. I mean, did they just say, hey, let's do it this week? It's time to do it now that we're 3-7. But I'm glad they finally did it whenever, their backs are really against the wall. And I know he didn't put up the biggest numbers, but it's just what he creates whenever he's actually getting those snaps at quarterbacks from other players. And I thought it was finally a smart game plan. I know the Rams are beat up and bad, but, take a win like you can, and you do it with a pretty solid game plan, and that's what they did.
What kind of marks do you give Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen to this point?
Man, it's they're 4-7. I really can't give you good marks. And if we're basing it just like if we're taking away the injuries and just the way that things have gone, it's a C for me. And that might be very kind. It's a real tough C.
How do you think things get better? I mean, what areas can you point to and say this is something they can build off of?
I will say, look, they were playing without 3 starting offensive linemen, and those backups played admirably in that game. We know who Aaron Donald is. I don't know if he's a guy that kind of seems like he didn't want to come back. They forced him to come back, and it looks like he didn't want to play this season, and it's kind of showing. But regardless, they played, for the most part, well. Now, he had 3 sacks. They had 3 sacks on Andy Dalton. I kind of give those to Andy Dalton. He's got to have better awareness. He's got to get rid of the ball. So with that being said, I thought the offensive line played well. Last week he asked me, hey, which guys can, they use? Which guys and players can they put in there? I mean, it's a small roster, and there's your answer. Those guys along that offensive line, after playing so horribly against the Steelers, they stepped up and played against, a really solid Rams squad. They played much better. So that's one spot I think that they can get better in. And Andy Dalton, I think for the most part, his most efficient game of his career.
Yeah.
84%. I mean, he got the ball. It may be a lot of checkdowns, but he did get off a nice pass with Aaron Donald bearing down on him. And he told Chris Olave, hey, I need you to get to this route much quicker. And he did. And he threw a perfect pass. So then those are some spots they can get better. But, Hunt, you know how it is, man. Show me you can do it again. Because every time they win a game, they lose 2 games in a row. So that's what I want to see.
That's the point. But as far as Dalton goes, you can say he was checking it down, and he was. And checking it down, to me, is fine as long as you hit the deep one to Olave, which he did, and he hit Jarvis on a couple of nice throws as well. So, yeah, I thought Dalton played very well. My point's been, I think, okay, so they played 11 games. They've got 7 more to go. He's probably going to play 2 more really good games, but the other 5 probably aren't going to be very good.
That's the problem with the inconsistency with him. I mean, this week they're getting the San Francisco squad that, boy, their defense might be the best defense they face. I keep saying that every week because of how sometimes the offense just doesn't show anything, and they make defense look really good. So if he can at least show a pulse this week, close to what he did this week against the Rams, they might actually have a chance to win that game. I might sound crazy, but they might actually have a chance. But they also have to find a way to run the ball a little bit more. And I don't care if it's like the screen game. Do something. Run the ball. Make Alvin Kamara a bigger part of the run game. They've got to find a way to run the game. Well, and I know it's kind of difficult when you got 3 missing offensive linemen, but there's a good chance that you get Pete and James Hurst back this week, and that might help a little bit more. Maybe Trevor Penning finally makes his debut this week. So that's another thing you have to look forward to when you talk about positivity.
Yeah, and that is where I was headed next. What the Saints are going to need big time over the next couple of years is cheap, good players. You mentioned Penning maybe coming back. Caden Ellis makes 11 tackles in the game on Sunday, and then Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor were very involved as well. That's the kind of thing you're going to have if the Saints are going to stay above water over the next couple of years, in my opinion.
You're correct, and they're $55 million above the cap, I believe, going into the offseason. And, yeah, having good, young, cheap players is the way for them. That's always been the way and the recipe for success for many of years. And yes, he did show he's shown some really good flashes the last 2 weeks. That would be Caden Ellis. He forced a fumble against Steelers, had a sack and a half in this game against the Rams. He's a good tackler. He can move sideline to sideline. He's done really well in the last 4 or 5 games. And they're going to need him to continue playing that way. I don't know if Pete Werner is going to make it back. I think it'd be a surprise to me if he makes it back in his final 6 games. I mean, that's a bad ankle injury he suffered, so we'll see if he makes it back. But, yeah, you got to have your Olaves. You got to have, you guys like Caden Nell step up. I mean, there's a reason why they're still on this team. And, Caden has certainly showed that he's been, I think, a really big, nice surprise for that defense.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, our guest here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Okay, you mentioned it at San Francisco. How do they find a way to win this one?
Listen, man, I know people like to give Jimmy GQ a hard time, man, but all he does is win. He uses his weapons the right way. That's just the defense. The defense is going to have to be, man, they're going to have to be really on its P's and Q's this week. And he does a lot of those checkdowns as well, dumps it off Debo Samuel. They do a lot of reverses in and around. But George Kittle is the guy they're going to have to find a way to contain in this game. To me, he is the biggest part of that offense that really can do some damage. So I think that's going to be on DeMario and Caden Ellis. And man, to me, I am still like dumbfounded how the defensive line cannot get any pressure. They are just not getting much pressure. A lot of those sacks are coming from the linebackers. And once again, we're still talking about the lack of turnovers. They haven't had one since Tyron's interception against the Raiders. And, I mean, that's pretty much you have to play a perfect game on defense and do all those. You got to force at least one turnover, get 3 sacks on Jimmy G. So, and the offense, if it's checkdowns, it is. That's great. And if you can hit 1 or 2 big plays down the field, it's good. But you have to be balanced, and you have to use Taysom and Alvin the way you did last week.
Look, if you're going to play the Warriors, you might as well play them with, no players left. Last time I went to the Blender to see the Pels and Warriors, way more Warriors jerseys on the kids than Pels jerseys. Has that trend flipped now in the Big Easy?
Well, let me give you a little comparison. A couple of weeks ago, it was the same roster, and the Pelicans almost messed around and lost that game to the Warriors. This week, they beat them up 45 points. That's exactly what you're supposed to do to the Santa Cruz Warriors. I mean, I am not trying to make fun of the Warriors, but they ran out their G League team. I mean, that's who played. And the Pelicans did what they were supposed to do. Ingram played awesome, had the 34 points. Zion didn't play much. He had 7 shots. But that's the type of game you want to get run with your younger guys. You want to build your confidence. Look, after this game, they have the Spurs. They should win that game on the road tomorrow. Then Friday, I think they have the Grizzlies. No John Morant and no Bane still on their team. So those are 2 very winnable games coming up for the Pelicans. They should win those 2 games. I know crazy things happen in the NBA, but at full health, they should be getting Trey Murphy back, by the way, and those should be 2 games they should win before they come back to take on the Thunder at home next week.
What's number 1 in the Sharif Ishak Thanksgiving sides draft?
Oh man, I'm pretty simple, dude. Man, I do like mashed potatoes a lot.
There's nothing wrong with that. That is a simple answer.
I do like cranberry sauce, but I'm not a turkey person, man. I really don't like turkey.
My dad, every single Thanksgiving I've been alive, every single one, I've heard him say, I don't even really like the turkey. I just have to put it on there because it's Thanksgiving. It's like, you don't have to do anything you don't want, but whatever.
He's right. I'd much rather roast, man. If I can get some roast, I'm down. I don't really much like turkey that much.
Well, enjoy your holiday, and we'll talk next week. Thanks, Sharif.
All right, bud. No problem. Anytime.
Sharif Ishak from WDSU. We will come back, get you a final score from the Cayman Islands, and close things up here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The world's biggest soccer tournament is back, and FanDuel wants you to get in on the action when America takes to the pitch. Because when you bet on Team USA in group play, all customers get free bets back if they don't win. All tournament long, FanDuel has all your favorite bet types, including some that are exclusive to soccer. Plus, like any other sport, you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday with the same game parlay. However you want to play, be sure to back the red, white, and blue, because all customers get free bets back if Team USA doesn't win. Just sign up with that promo code 1045ESPN if you don't already have an account. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and present in Louisiana. Refund issues and non-withdrawable free bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet ranging from $5 to $100. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who knows a gambling problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, Know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there.
On Wednesdays, OTB, we give thanks by giving takes. That's right, we celebrate Takesgiving. Get you ready for an incredible weekend of college football. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Matt McMahon's Fighting Tigers outscore Akron by 17 in the second half. They win going away in the Caymans. 73-58 is the final. Tigers are 5-0. They will play the winner of Kansas State and had it a second ago, and now I don't remember. Think it'll come to me? You can tell how locked in I am on this Caymans Islands Classic that's not on TV. Can't come up with it. That's all right. They might play Kansas State. They might not. Depends on if Kansas State wins coming up this afternoon, but that'll be tomorrow. LSU moves to 2-0. Akron has been a decent team this year. They did get beat by 19 by Mississippi State. LSU just about kept pace with that. In the game for the Tigers, Adam Miller led the way for LSU. He had 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting. He was 5 of 9 from behind the arc, which is great. KJ Williams backed up his 33-point game with a 19-point effort in the ball game. He was 2 of 4 from three-point range and pulled down 5 rebounds. See what Juice Hill had to offer. He had 14 points in the game and a couple rebounds. So a nice effort by the Tigers, who shot 47% from behind the arc and scored 73 points. Played a really good defensive game against Akron, held them to, 26% from the floor, 14 of 54 in the game for Akron. So really nice job by Matt McMahon's crew on defense, and they will get a chance to play Nevada. That's the other one, Nevada and Kansas State. The winner of that game, LSU will get in the championship of the Cayman Islands Classic. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It. Taylor Sharp.
Yes, sir. CBS came out with its weekly power rankings today. The Chiefs top the list with the Eagles second and the Miami Dolphins third. Tua and company are a top 3 team in football. Take it or leave it.
Whew. They do have some good wins, but I'm going to leave that. I know the Bills can't run the ball. I know that Josh Allen runs for his life. And I know that the Dolphins beat the Bills. But if you made me pick a team, I would take the Bills over the Dolphins at this point. I think the Dolphins will be heard from. I was looking at those power rankings today. Playoffs could be pretty good. There are a lot of competitive teams, and I don't see anybody that looks head and shoulders. Sure, I'm not betting against the Chiefs, but there are a lot of teams that can do it. So I'll leave that.
Yeah, watch out for the 49ers, too.
Yep.
Blue Jays right-handed pitcher Alex Manoah called Garrett Cole the worst cheater in baseball history. Take it or leave it.
Look, there have been some issues with cheating in baseball. There have been some guys that have been taking some needles. We've seen, spitballs over the years, spider tack with Garrett Cole and everybody in baseball that was doing it. My guy Sammy Sosa, that was my idol growing up. He corked his bat and did steroids. So is Garrett Cole the worst cheater in baseball history? I don't know about that, but it seemed curious to me that Garrett Cole was in the Cubs division and was a number 1 pick. He pitched in the regional that LSU lost out in 2010 in LA. I was very familiar with him. And he wasn't any good for the Pirates. The Pirates threw him in the 2015 wildcard game, and Schwarber hit one 800 feet off him. Dexter Fowler took him out. He was never that good for the Pirates. Then he went to Houston and just started lighting it up. There were some questionable things going on in Houston at that point, but I don't think anybody's going to wrestle this World Series title away from him. They probably earned that one. So maybe a little bit much there, Mr. Manoah. But Garrett Cole probably earned a few extra dollars from the Astros and Yankees by using that spider tag.
All right, shift to a little bit of football. Navy unveiled alternate unis, Hunt Palmer's favorite thing in the world, for its game against Army. The threads will honor the 54 Navy grads who have gone on to become astronauts. Space uniforms, take it or leave it.
I will take this. This is rare. Now look, y'all know my takes on alternate uniforms. I don't like them. I like the classics. But when you're talking about Navy and people who have actually gone on to be astronauts, that's a little bit better. Plus, I saw them, and they're not, gaudy or loud. We're sitting there at my house on Saturday, and Kentucky's playing against Georgia, and my mother-in-law is at the house, and she's like, oh my gosh, those Kentucky helmets are so cool. They're wearing those silver reflectors with the black picnic table shoulder pads. I was like, no, Paul, no. Those are awful. And I stand by that. But Navy honoring their astronauts with pretty simple uniforms, I like, so I will take that.
They're not bad. They do say NASA on the side, though, which is not really Navy. But, I thought of you on Saturday. Tennessee's orange helmets. What are your thoughts?
They look like Clemson.
I thought they were terrible.
They were playing South Carolina.
They were terrible.
And they looked just like Clemson. No, they were bad. They were bad. And they didn't look the exact same color as the Tennessee jersey. I didn't like it. No. Out.
Soccer has a flopping problem. Take it or leave it.
Oh, my gosh. I don't watch soccer, so this is new to me. I've seen soccer in the past, but certainly not 2 days in a row, which I have today. They are falling down like a Civil War reenactment out there. It's brutal to watch. And you would think they've been shot, not stepped on. The morning game yesterday, the goalie from Iran took a head-to-head collision, and they checked on him. He laid down for 5 minutes. Of course, the clock didn't stop. They check on him, and then he says, okay, I'm going to play. So they continue the game. He's playing in the game as goalie. Then he says, no, I can't play. So he goes down, and they put him in that little stretcher thing, and 6 people look like pallbearers walking him off the field. You're telling me this guy 5 minutes earlier decided he was going to play goalie in a World Cup match, and then 5 minutes later can't walk off the field? Come on, man. It's do they still have that spray they used to use, and they'd run out and do that ice spray? Oh, God.
I saw one the other day. A guy bumps shoulders with another dude, does 3 back rolls, and it's awful.
Soccer has a significant flopping problem. I said yesterday, I'm pro World Cup. I'm pumped up for everybody that's pumped up about the World Cup. I'm bummed out that USA blew that game yesterday and didn't get the points. But, like, that flopping's bad. Like, that is a bad deal. And I'm not here to suggest that nobody in basketball is doing anything or in football is doing anything what I'm watching, but show a little toughness out there, guys. Let's play. Let's play through some contact and not act like we've been, shot every time somebody steps on our foot. I can't do much of that. All right, that's it for the show here on a Tuesday. Coming out to Pluckers tonight. Nicholson location, 8:30 sports trivia, cold drinks, great food, gift cards up there for grabs. Gonna have a lot of fun. 8:30 Pluckers on Nicholson. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com. You can catch it on demand at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube. Started talking about LSU A&M at the top of the show. Had some Jimbo Fisher sound in hour one as well. Glen West of Go 247 joined us. My fall baseball recap at 2 o'clock, so in the middle of the show today. Went through everything I saw in the fall. Sharif, Ishak, WDSU hung out with us a little bit earlier as well. Jimmy Yacht's Game Time, 6 to 8. Matt Moscona coming up on AFR. See you tonight at Pluckers or tomorrow from 1 to 3 on 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.